And here in episode 21, we will continue to work with modules. And in the last episode, we looked at internal modules, modules you make yourself and store in your library under your project. But this is where it suddenly starts going really fast with Python programming. Now we take off, I can tell you, because there are tons of external modules. So everything we have done from chapter 1 and up till now, that's learning all the basics about coding. What is a variable? What's a string variable? What's a text variable? What's a list? All that stuff, all the basic stuff we know now. But now we will take it to another level, because when you program and you have a problem you need to solve with your program, the likelihood is that somebody else has already done it. And you can reuse the code that somebody else has made and turned into a module. And these modules can then be used to modify and add them into your programs. And that is where things start going really fast. You don't have to sit and program everything from scratch. If you want an input graphical interface, or you want a graph to represent some data and so on, there are already modules for all that. So now it's about knowing what are the modules that exist, how do I import them and use them, and also if they are not already built into Python, there is a standard library, and I will show you. But then it's about going on the internet. Simply Google it. Say Python and a certain functionality you want, Google it, and when you have found it, import it and start using it. But to be able to do that, you need to know all the basics, to be able to read the program in the module and to understand what's going on so you can modify it to your own use. That's why we have taken it step by step up till here. And now we will really accelerate everything you have learned, because now we will start importing modules and using them in our software. Hey and welcome here. I'm Thorkild Brunsnes, and this is Python Learning by Doing. I strongly believe that learning by doing, that's the way that works the best. It is for me, I can tell you. So try to follow this, these chapters here, and do what I'm showing on the screen. Follow it on your own computer. And when you have gone through all the different chapters, I promise you, you will be an excellent programmer. Well, let's grab a cup of coffee. And then let's just get going. If you would like an overview about all the different modules that are built into Python already, I can recommend you simply go into Google and type in list of Python modules, and then go down here to Python module index in the Python 3.10.2 documentation. And here you will get a full list of all the different modules and an explanation about what they can do, the different modules. Another way to get an overview about the modules here is simply to go down here in the lower window and open the Python console here. And if you here simply write help, and then in parentheses, and this here, and then modules, and then type enter, then it prints out a complete list about all the modules that are available in Python. And if I have found a module here in the built-in list that I found interesting, I can look it up and see what's inside it, which are the functions inside, with simply opening a file here and write import random. So I import the file, and then I say print directory random. That was one of the files that were here in the built-in list. That was a file called random, and I picked that one because I want to use it in our next exercise. Let's see what's inside it. And down here now I get all the different functions that has been defined within that file. And that's what we are going to use. We are going to use one of these functions here in the next exercise. So I cheated a little bit here because I already prepared the file, and it's the file I call roll2dices. It's a small program that will use one of the built-in functions to make a small program where we can run 2 dices and look at the outcome. So I'll open that one. And you can see here what I have done. First I say import random. And that was one of the modules we had in our list. We just saw that. And now I give it a variable 1, min called 1 and max called 6. So it's a dice. So the smallest number is 1 and the largest number is 6. I could also choose a 10-sided dice if I wanted to, but I choose a 6-sided dice. Then we define another variable here we call roll again, and we set it from the beginning here to yes. Because we want, every time we have thrown the dice, we want it to ask, do we want to roll again? And we want to be able to answer with yes or no. And then we say, now we use a while loop. And remember, a while loop looks at a condition, whether a condition is true or false. And when it gets false, it stops running. So we say while roll again, a new variable here, equals yes. So we check if we want to run again. Or roll again equals y. So you can either answer when it prompts you to ask if you want to roll again with writing yes, or you can write just the y, and then it will run again. And now we are in the while loop, and we say print rolling the dices. So when we say yes, a text will come up saying rolling the dices, and right after it will say the values are, and then your values will be printed for dice number 1. It will go in and use a function that is within our module called random. There is a random.randit min max function. So it rolls the dice between the min and max that we have defined up here. And the same with the second. So there is a randit function. So somewhere down here there should be a randit when we looked at the content. Yeah, there it is. You can see it here. So there is a built-in randit function. If you really want to see what this randit does, then you have to open the file here called random. And then you can go in and see what's the coding behind this randit. But we just use it without speculating about how it's programmed in this example here. After it has printed the 2 figures from dice number 1 and 2, then it will prompt you, because we make an input statement, and it says roll again, input, and then roll the dices again. And then you can say, we can even say answer with y for yes, or n for no. And here we have our little program. So let's try to run it. And then you can see here it says rolling the dices. The values are 6 and 4. Roll the dices again. Answer with y for yes. Oh, that's a little spelling error. So we'll just correct that. Or n for no. And then we try to run it again. And now it reran it again here. So you can see here now we got 5 and 3, and we can just keep doing that. So we can just type yes and yes, and you can see we get different values every time. 2 6s even. So that's a simple little piece of program here that uses one of the built-in function that is in the module called random. And if you have installed a module from an external source and imported with pip, which we will see here in a moment, and then afterwards you are in doubt about where do I find that file now in my whole file hierarchy over here, the way to find it is simply to go up here and write import and then the name of this module and then print and the name of the module. So if I run that, it will simply tell me down here random can be found in under Python 38 library random py. So let's see here. We are in Python 3.8 here. That's what it refers to there. We are in library, the lib, and then there should be a random.py down here somewhere. And see, there is random.py. So it's here. We can try to even open it. And here you can now see, if you're interested, is what is the entire content of this random.py. Another little thing to notice here is in a Python file, if you write these 3 characters here, hyphenation signs here, then you will, the program will see this as comments until you meet these signs again. So everything that is in between or after these 3, that would be a comment. And here it ends. So that's not something that the program will execute. But here we have everything that is inside the program, all the different functions and classes and whatever has been defined. So here you can see the different functions. And somewhere down there we can find the randit. It's somewhere in here. There it is. And there we have the function randit. Return random integer in a range A to B, including both endpoints. And then is really what it does. Return self rand range A, B plus 1. But that's a coding for that function randit that we are calling. And if you want to install a module that is not in the internal module list, then you have to open a command prompt and use the pip function to install it. And we can simply just say cmd, and that gives us the command prompt. And here we can go in and we can say pip install. And then in this case here, I want to install a module called Python -docx. It's a module here that can help me generate Word documents from Python. So I want to install that. And then enter. And then it takes a little while because it will go out and find it somewhere and download it from a site where it's accessible. Okay, and then it gives me a warning here that there's a newer version, so I should upgrade the pip command. But, that's okay. That concludes this chapter of Python Learning by Doing. Make sure that you follow all the following chapters and go through the entire series. Also make sure to hit both the like and the subscribe buttons, because that would help me to keep creating programs like this. So thank you for doing that. And here after this there will be a link on the screen, and that will be to the next episode in this series of 26 videos. So take another cup of coffee and get ready for the next episode.